Welcome to this first episode of AI by AI, where we'll be exploring some fascinating developments in artificial intelligence and tech partnerships. We have three major stories to discuss that highlight both the promise and challenges of AI development. First, we'll look at Meta's evolving relationship with Scale AI, where some cracks are appearing in their $14.3 billion partnership just months after it began. Secondly, we'll investigate the mysterious investors at Nvidia that account for quite a large part of their revenue. And finally, we'll dive into groundbreaking research on using large language models to generate more natural and personality-driven behaviors for virtual agents. These stories paint an interesting picture of the current AI landscape, from major corporate partnerships and market dynamics to cutting-edge research pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. They highlight both the massive investments being made in AI development and some of the growing pains as companies navigate this rapidly evolving technology. Let's dive into our first story, which reveals some fascinating tensions in what was supposed to be a groundbreaking partnership between Meta and Scale AI. Just months after Meta's massive $14.3 billion investment in Scale AI, we're seeing some concerning cracks in the foundation of this alliance. The most immediate red flag is the departure of Ruben Mayer, Scale AI's former senior VP of Gen AI product and operations, who left Meta after just 2 months. Meta is betting big on AI, with massive investments like their $50 billion Hyperion data center in Louisiana. But with key AI researchers already departing and internal tensions mounting, this rocky start to their Scale AI partnership could signal deeper challenges in Meta's AI strategy. This situation perfectly illustrates the complex dynamics at play in today's AI industry, where massive investments don't always translate to successful partnerships, and where the battle for top talent can sometimes overshadow technical considerations. We'll be watching closely to see how this relationship evolves, especially as Meta aims to launch their next generation AI model by year's end. Now, let's turn to our next story about Nvidia's customer concentration. While Mayer maintains his exit was due to personal reasons, this quick departure raises eyebrows, especially given the strategic importance of this partnership. But here's where it gets really interesting. Meta's TBD Labs, their core AI superintelligence unit, is actively working with Scale AI's competitors, Mercor and Surge. Sources inside the company report that researchers actually prefer these competitors' data, viewing Scale AI's data quality as subpar. This is particularly striking given Meta's enormous financial commitment to Scale AI. There are some fascinating developments at Nvidia, the company that's become synonymous with AI chips. In their latest quarterly report, something quite remarkable emerged. Just 2 mystery customers accounted for a staggering 39% of their Q2 revenue. Now let me put this into perspective for you. We're talking about 2 unnamed entities that are responsible for more than a third of the revenue for one of the world's most valuable semiconductor companies. The plot thickens when you consider that both OpenAI and Google have recently cut ties with Scale AI altogether. This suggests a broader industry shift away from Scale AI's traditional crowdsourcing model toward providers offering more specialized, expert-driven data labeling services. Inside Meta's AI unit, the situation appears increasingly chaotic. New talent brought in from OpenAI and Scale AI are struggling with Meta's corporate bureaucracy, while the original Gen AI team has seen their influence diminish. This internal tension comes at a crucial time when Meta is trying to catch up with competitors after their Llama 4 launch failed to meet expectations. What's particularly telling is that this partnership might have been more about acquiring talent, specifically Scale AI's CEO Alexander Wang, than about the actual data labeling services. Wang, who now leads Meta Superintelligence Labs, was brought in after Meta failed to secure other high-profile AI researchers from companies like OpenAI. The stakes here are enormous. This isn't just interesting. It's potentially concerning from a business risk perspective. Think about it. Nvidia has essentially become the backbone of the AI revolution, providing the crucial GPU hardware that powers everything from ChatGPT to Midjourney. But this concentration of revenue in just 2 customers suggests something important about the current state of AI development. It's becoming increasingly centralized among a handful of major players. Who could these mystery customers be? While Nvidia hasn't disclosed their identities, it's worth noting that companies like Microsoft, Meta, Google, and Amazon are among the biggest consumers of AI chips. They're all in an arms race to build and deploy the most powerful AI systems. This development tells us 2 critical things about the AI industry right now. First, the barrier to entry for serious AI development is astronomical. We're talking about investments in hardware that only the largest tech companies can afford. Second, there's an incredible concentration of power forming in the AI space, with a few companies controlling most of the computational resources. For you, our listener, this matters because it could shape the future of AI development. When such a significant portion of AI computing power is controlled by a small number of players, it raises questions about innovation, competition, and who ultimately gets to shape the direction of AI technology. This situation also puts Nvidia in an interesting position. They're riding high on the AI boom, but having such a concentrated customer base could make them vulnerable to shifts in spending from any of these major clients. Let's move on to our next story. Let me elaborate on the fascinating research about using more natural behaviors and characteristics for virtual agents. This groundbreaking study explores whether LLMs can create both verbal and non-verbal behaviors that authentically reflect different personality traits. The researchers focused specifically on extroversion, those outgoing personality types versus the more reserved introverts. They developed a clever system that uses LLMs to generate not just what virtual agents say, but also how they say it through facial expressions, body language, and voice characteristics. Here's what makes this particularly interesting. They tested their system in 2 different scenarios. First, a negotiation setting where agents had to work through a conflict. Second, a more casual ice-breaking conversation. What they found was quite revealing. The personality differences showed up much more clearly in the casual ice-breaking scenario. It makes sense when you think about it. We're all more likely to let our true personalities shine through in relaxed social situations rather than formal negotiations. The results were quite impressive. When they put their virtual agents in front of real people, participants could reliably tell which agent was supposed to be extroverted and which was introverted. The system successfully generated behaviors that matched what we know about how extroverts and introverts typically act, from the words they choose to their facial expressions and even how they move their bodies. But here's an interesting twist. The study found that people's own personality traits affected how they perceived the virtual agents. Introverted participants were actually better at spotting the differences between the extroverted and introverted agents. They also tended to rate the introverted agent as more introverted than extroverted participants did. What's particularly exciting about this research is its potential applications. Imagine virtual assistants or therapy bots that could adjust their personality to better match or complement the person they're interacting with. The technology isn't just about making virtual agents more realistic. It's about making them more effective at connecting with and helping real people. This research represents a significant step forward in creating more natural and relatable virtual agents. By using LLMs to generate personality-consistent behaviors across multiple channels of communication, we're getting closer to virtual agents that can engage with humans in truly meaningful ways. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Let me wrap up the key takeaways for you. We've seen how the AI landscape is evolving through 3 distinct lenses today. First, Meta's rocky partnership with Scale AI shows us that even multi-billion-dollar deals aren't immune to growing pains in this fast-moving industry. The exodus of talent and internal tensions remind us that successful AI development isn't just about throwing money at the problem. Second, Nvidia's customer concentration reveals just how centralized AI computing power has become. With just 2 mystery customers accounting for 39% of their revenue, it's clear that the keys to advanced AI capabilities are in very few hands. Finally, the breakthrough research in personality-driven AI agents shows us the more human side of artificial intelligence. It's a promising glimpse into a future where our interactions with AI could become more natural and personally tailored. What ties all these stories together is a picture of an industry in rapid transformation, one that's simultaneously consolidating power while pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Whether you're an investor, developer, or just someone interested in where technology is headed, these developments will likely shape the AI landscape we'll all be interacting with in the near future. Thanks for listening today. Until next time, stay curious and keep watching this space. The AI story is far from over.